All right, Grand Rising. Happy Sunny Sunday to you all. Welcome to another episode of the One Great I Am Awakening. I'm Chris Taylor, one of your hosts. And over there to my left on the screen is my big brother and partner in spirit, Mr. Thomas, aka Sir T. Say something to the panel, Sir T. Give them a little boost.
Yeah, man. Greetings. Blessed love to all who are joined here with us this morning and those listening in on the social media space. As Sir Chris mentioned, we're gonna be discussing mastering your inner speech, because there's always some inner speech going on, whether we are aware of it or not. All your thoughts are your inner speech. Is you having a discussion with yourself. Everything that you're thinking before you pronounce it verbally so that another can hear it, that's the conversation you are having with yourself. Now, you can't blame anybody for that conversation or praise anybody for it, as a matter of fact. So there's no devil to blame, there's no God to praise for the conversation you're having with yourself. It's all you. You're in total control of that conversation. So if you don't like the conversation, then you have free rein to change it. All right. So today we are gonna be exploring, Neville's advice and his methods of controlling and mastering your inner conversations, pointing them in the direction that you desire to see your results. Because your results are that you see that show up in your natural fourth dimensional space or third dimensional space for that matter. The results that show up is as a result of the conversations that you have been having with yourself, whether you want to admit it. And as a matter of fact, I don't think anybody can deny it. Could anybody deny that they have conversations with themselves, Sir Chris? I don't think anybody could deny that.
No, sir.
There's always a thing going on within, and it is what happens within that comes on the outside eventually. As Reverend Ike just pronounced, facts are not in control. I am in control. I am is in control. What is I am? I am is what you're aware of. It's what you're aware of that comes out, and eventually you see what you were already aware of. Nothing ever shows up in your world and you're not aware of it, Anything ever show up in your world and you thought, look, and you wonder what is. When it shows up in your world, you already recognize it. You know why you recognize it? Because you had seen it on the inside before. As a matter of fact, that's why it comes forth. What you see is what you get. What you get is what you saw. You see that? What you get, what comes out materially in your world, is as a result of what you had seen in your inner conversations. Whether you want to deny it or not, it's a reality that you could deny it to me, but you can't deny it to yourself. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Chris, so we're gonna have fun with it this morning. Back over to you, my boss.
Thank you, Sir T. Clifford said that some people are said to not have an inner voice or monologue. People are. Pretty interesting. What I mean, animals,
So who could say that? How could I know what's going on inside of you? How can I say that man over there doesn't have any inner conversation with himself? How could I say that? How could I know what's going on inside of him?
Here's why we know that is not true, Sir T. Because even a blind man, like Stevie Wonder, is blind. A dumb man, or someone who's deaf. Like I have a guy that come here to me, not as a client. He's just a guy who is in the streets, but he's deaf, can't speak. But he thinks very well. He texts me messages, or he's thinking, right? he can't hear nothing, but he can do. And you have a nephew who's never spoken.
Correct.
This guy cannot speak and he cannot hear.
Same thing with my nephew.
But he can write messages and stuff. So it's people with no internal monologue explain what it's like to just put something in the room.
Sir Chris, anatomically and physiologically, we are way more similar than we are different. We are 99.999% the same. You understand what I'm saying? The anatomy and the physiology of human beings is a lot more similar than it is different. You see, anything at all that you find just natural to you in your function and operation, it's natural to most. As a matter of fact, you might want to go ahead and say it's natural to him. Just like how every man sleep and dream. Every man sleep and dream. Nobody come tell me, say, you have a human being somewhere down in Australia will never dream yet. Oh, you know that?
30, it's virtually impossible because we're talking about what's within man, his mind, consciousness.
Exactly.
And all consciousness can do is think. Consciousness speaks through man because we are the instrument, the one that gives it sound. Consciousness is an invisible force and source that needs a body, a carrier, something to host it, to express itself. You understand? So to say people don't have an inner voice.
It's to say the person cannot think. Because your thoughts are your thoughts are that's your inner voice. That's you think that you're talking on the inside.
Yeah.
So to say a man don't have an inner voice, it's to say the man cannot think. And I'll tell you what, there is a lot of things that men can't do. Some man can't talk, some man can't this, some man can't that. Every man think. There's no such thing as a thoughtless man. None.
I always perceive it something by our five senses. You know?
There are two faculties that is given unto mankind and mankind only. There is no other mortal being that possesses those two qualities. And it is the quality of thought and speech. Thought and speech. And though you might have a man who cannot speak outwardly, every man speak on the inside. Because the inner thought, that's that man's speech. Before you can linguistically pronounce a statement or a word, it have to come through your inner thought first. There is no other creature out there that can speak. None. Don't tell me about a parrot. A parrot cannot speak. A parrot can only mimic. The parrot can only say what you hear somebody else say. Where you teach it to say, the parrot cannot come up with a. In other words, you can't ask a parrot a question that it's never heard before and it answer you. Thought and speech. Henceforth, scripture would declare that may the words of my mouth, speech, and the meditation of my mind, thought, be acceptable in thy sight. You dig what I say? Thought and speech. Don't make nobody fool you. Every man can think. And your thoughts, that's your inner speech. That's what we're about to talk to you about today. How to direct your inner speech. I know, man, we can't speak outwardly. I told you, one is in my household. One, me grew up in a household with one. My nephew is what, 10 years younger than me. Me and him, so technically, me and him almost grew up together. He's my first nephew. To this day, that man is 42-year-old, 43, I think. Born in 1982 and just turned 43. Last month. That man has never spoken a word from the day born because he's never heard a word. And I really dumb him deaf. In born deaf, he's never heard anything, so I don't know if he says so, him not say nothing.
What he's thinking though.
Of course he's thinking. Then the man no watch movie. You sit down and watch him and watch a movie. Remember, him can't hear none at all.
Yeah.
When you watch a movie, you can turn off the volume completely and you watch the movie and understand the movie, and the part him supposed to laugh, him laugh, and the part him supposed to get upset, him get upset. It's amazing. Without hearing a sound.
That's consciousness for you, brother.
Oh, okay. So too late for your man tell me how this thing works. Like I said, I grew up around a person who is totally mute and realized that the man thought and think just as natural as anyone else, even though he's never heard a man say a word in his whole life.
That's what we're gonna discuss today, guys. Master your inner speech. This is hopefully a quick listen from Neville. Can get a good discussion from it to break down some of what he's going to digress. But we're, as we say, we've switched course, we've switched our direction on how we're going to approach this year. Or this year we are determined to become masters. Master, what I call it now? Master our aim, our shooting skills. In this case, our imagination, which is our true power, true self. Our desire is to master, imagination, imagining how to master our inner speech, master our mind, master the ego, and stuff like that. That is our job, is to master our ego, master our thinking, master the mind. There's a saying, the mind is a powerful, is a wonderful servant, but a dangerous master. So we have to be the one that become master over our mind. The mind of man is the mouth of consciousness. Okay, mind of man is the mouth of consciousness, and your speech, is just the clothing, of the thought. You understand? So, but you have the inner speech. So though we have outward speech or audible, which is the clothing, the inner speech, is what comes first. And we are always doing it. We think I hear about 20,000 thoughts a day, if not more, 60,000 maybe. I'm exaggerating here, but anywhere from 20 to 60,000 thoughts a day. That's your inner speech. We're going to listen to Neville on how to master them and be aware. 30.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to this. And I've been, even since I mean, I've listened to this tape so many times, but I listened to it again earlier this morning. And even while listening to the tape, I'm trying to put into practice controlling the inner speech, controlling that inner thought. And after we listen to it, I will tell you the secret that I have found. How it worked for me. I can't tell you how to do it for you. All right?
All right. So let's get to it. Master. Oh, here it is. All right. So here's Neville Goddard talking about your inner speech. Take a listen, and we'll be right back.
Talking to oneself is a habit everyone indulges in. We could no more stop talking to ourselves than we could stop eating and drinking. All that we can do is control the nature and the direction of our inner conversation. Most of us are totally unaware of the fact that our inner conversations are the causes of the circumstances of our life. We are told that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But do we know that man's thinking follows the tracks laid down in his own inner conversations? To turn the tracks to which he is tied in the direction in which he wants to go, he must put off his former conversation, which is called in the Bible the old man, and be renewed in the spirit of his mind. Speech is the image of mind. Therefore, to change his mind, he must first change his speech. By speech is meant those mental conversations we carry on with ourselves. The world is a magic circle of infinite possible mental transformations, for there are an infinite number of possible mental conversations. When man discovers the creative power of inner talking, he will realize his function and his mission in life. Then he can act to a purpose. Without such knowledge, he acts unconsciously. Everything is a manifestation of the mental conversations which go on in us without our being aware of them. But as civilized beings, we must become aware of them and act with a purpose. A man's mental conversations attracts his life. As long as there is no change in his inner talking, the personal history of the man remains the same. To attempt to change the world before we change our inner talking is the struggle against the very nature of things. Man can go round and round in the same circle of disappointments and misfortunes, not seeing them as caused by his own negative inner talking, but as caused by others. This may seem far-fetched, but it is a matter which lends itself to research and experiment. The formula the chemist illustrates is not more certainly provable than the formula of this science by which words are clothed in objective reality. One day a girl told me of her difficulties in working with her employer. She was convinced that he unjustly criticized and rejected her very best efforts. Upon hearing her story, I explained that if she thought him unfair, it was a sure sign that she herself was in need of a new conversation piece. There was no doubt that she was mentally arguing with her employer, for others only echo that which we whisper to them in secret. She confessed that she argued with him mentally all day long. When she realized what she had been doing, she agreed to change her inner conversation with her employer. She imagined that he had congratulated her on her fine work, and that she, in turn, had thanked him for his praise and kindness. To her great delight, she soon discovered that her own attitude was the cause of all that befell her. The behavior of her employer reversed itself. It echoed, as it had always done, her mental conversations with him. I rarely see a person alone without wondering to what conversation piece is he tied. On what mysterious track is he walking? We must begin to take life consciously, for the solution of all problems lies just in this. The second man, the Lord from heaven in all of us, is trying to become self-conscious in the body, that he may be about his Father's business. What are his labors? To imitate his Father, to become master of the Word, master of his inner talking, that he may mold this world of ours into a likeness with the kingdom of love. The prophet said, "Be ye imitators of God as dear children." How would I imitate God? Well, we are told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen become seen. This is the way the girl called forth praise and kindness from her employer. She carried on an imaginary conversation with her employer from the premise that he had praised her work, and he did. Our inner conversations represent in various ways the world we live in. Our individual worlds are self-revelations of our own inner speech. We are told that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof. For by their words they shall be justified, and by their words they shall be condemned. We abandon ourselves to negative inner talking, yet expect to retain command of life. Our present mental conversations do not recede into the past as man believes. They advance into the future to confront us as wasted or invested words. My word, said the prophet, shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in all the things whereto I sent it.
All right, just wanted to address really quickly that last section that never mentioned there. It's very important, very paramount. We never mentioned that our idle thoughts or idle conversations, they do not recede into the past. It kind of feels like that's what happens because it's something you thought about a minute ago, a day ago, a month ago, sometime even a year or years ago. So you think it recedes into the past. But interestingly, It actually proceed, not recede, but it proceed, it goes forward into the future to confront you. Isn't that interesting, Serti? It has to be that, because when you think of something that you naturally desire, how do you think you got it? It didn't go back into the past. It went forward for you to collide with it, for you to meet up with it. Because if it recedes in the past, it's like you leave your house, going to work, you're going a different direction. So whatever that, what you left behind you, you cannot confront it anymore. But thought works differently. Thought does not recede in the past or behind you. It's actually something that projects and goes forward for the appointed time. It's like when you plant a seed, though it's planted in yesterday or last week, it is going to confront in the future with what's within the seed. So your thought works the very same way. So that's why they're saying your idle thoughts, you shouldn't think idly, because it's going to confront you nonetheless in the future. What's about that, Serti?
Yeah, man, I just want to clarify something regarding that when you speak of the thought here, it's not just talking about a passing thought, because these thoughts come and go through your consciousness every millisecond. It's talking about focused thought. You catch what I say? It's not all right, because when it speaks of an idle thought, how long does it take for you to have an idle thought? It's not just a passing thought, like some nonsense come to your mind and it just passed through your mind and you didn't give any attention to it. It just passed through your mind and gone. That seed has not been sown. You throw it at the concrete, it now grow. It's like the seed where you put on the table, now grow. And the one where you take the time to go till the soil and plow up the soil and put in the soil and water it, that's the one that's gonna grow. It's the same thing with a thought. A thought that just passed through your mind. It just passed through your mind. But it's the one that you sit down and you think about it and start to make plans in your mind toward it. Whether it be a good or an evil thought. When you start to the point where, oh, you know that the thought has been, the seed has been sown in terms of a thought. How you know that seed has been sown, the thought connect, is when it reflects back to you in terms of feeling. If it alters your emotion, if the thought alters your emotion, then that thought has been sown. And you're going to see it again. And whatever alteration it brought to your emotion in the present, it is going to be that same alteration that it's going to bring to your emotion when it manifests, multiplied. Because no seed where when you plant a grain of corn and one grain of corn, you get back. So when you plant that thought to the point where it connect, when we say it connect, or you know it connect when it alter your emotion. All right, so let's say you sit down here, so I think about, boy, every man them come repossess my house, man. Because me now work right, you know, and they say them lay off people on my job, so them all lay me off, and then me can't go pay mortgage, and look money we have in my account that I go just last about 3 months. But a mortgage. But if me lose your shot, me go to the point where you start feel sad. So now you plant that seed there. Just the passing thought in your mind, like a co-worker call you and say, Chris, boy, me say them all have some people next week, you know. And you say, oh yeah, say man, them all have people. Well, that's how you go, you know. And you just switch off of that and go back and the way you did that. The thought, it did pass through your consciousness, but you didn't give it a chance to get planted. You have to be careful where you're allowed to get planted. Not sit down and think. Don't lose sleep. Don't give thought to something that you do not want to meet again, where you don't want to see again. If you don't want to see it again, don't think about it. You can't stop it from coming to your mind, because somebody will bring it to your mind. But how much attention are you gonna give it to it, and is it gonna alter your emotion? Is it gonna never allow anything to alter your emotion unless it is what you have planted yourself? Anything that's gonna alter your emotion must be self-generated. It must not be generated from the outside. It must be generated from within. Because I don't think any man come up with anything negative from within himself. Usually the things that bring on the negative feeling there and have the negative connotation to it is usually something that it's coming from the outside world. Something causes you to start think negative. It's not natural if your man just get up and think negative about himself. You know? It's not that. Something from the outside that causes that. You know, so, you know, that's my view on it, where that is concerned, brother. Be careful what you really give your thought to.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about inner speech, because it is inward working, or, you know, inner workings. You get in contact with what's going on the outside. I know you make it your business. So you rightfully state, certain, if it's a passing thought that you give no attention to, those are not what we're talking about. We're talking about an idle thought, meaning it's not something you want to entertain. As they would call it sometimes when you're doing something non-productive, they call it idle. You know, so if it's something that's not productive, not going to be of any good report, then don't entertain it. But don't think because it's not something that you don't want, it is something that you don't want, that it is it's going to recede in the past. It goes ahead of you in the future to confront you. Never has an interesting concept, though, that he's going to, I believe, mention in the tip, that can, what I say now, you know, supersede that. Should you be aware of it, that, you know, you did something negative or something you contemplated on for quite some time, and even catch the feeling, the mood. Never has a process that he uses to debunk that.
To uproot, yeah, man, to uproot that seed there. I can uproot.
Yeah, so I think he mentions it in the tip. We're gonna.
I know what you're talking about. I don't think it was mentioned on this portion of the tape, but I know what you're talking about. Let's plant a better tree, man.
Yeah.
Just plant a better tree, you know.
Yeah, so, you know, but just be aware. So what we're doing here is learning to become conscious, because these idle thoughts, we're doing them, but we're not conscious of the danger. You understand? We don't know that we're planting a seed. We know that we're idling on the thought. You know, we are conscious of it. We know we're thinking of it. We're conscious. You understand? But what we're not conscious of is the danger of doing it. So when the Bible says, you know, do not take the Lord's name in vain, it is not talking about saying Jesus Christ, as we were taught. Okay? Jesus simply means I am, or Jehovah saves. Okay? So when you say something to yourself about yourself, right? You have to say the word I am. You have to say I am when you say something about yourself. So that is, in a sense, saying Jesus, but we're not talking about just saying the word Jesus. It is talking to yourself. Mm-hmm. I am. That's what Jesus means. So when you say I am poor, or I am weak, or I am sick, or whatever the case may be, you are not, you're not going to go unpunished, if you want to call it that. You understand? These are the things that you're calling down on yourself. So that's why scripture says, do not take the Lord thy God's name in vain. It just simply means do not say something that you don't mean. Okay? Because it will not hold you guiltless or unpunished when you say these things about yourself. And I'm not talking about audibly. I'm talking about your inner speech. Where you sit down and contemplate all day long and think it recedes in the past. It proceeds, it goes forward to confront you in the future. This is why these things are so random at times. It's like a pothole, some kind of trap that is out there waiting for you to fall into, but you don't realize that you're the one who had set it from some previous weeks or months, sometimes years ago, and now it has come to confront you.
Sir Chris, you know something that I've found? It's a secret that I was saying earlier. I said, this is how I figure that this thing work.
Mm-hmm.
But since you kind of drag it out early, so since we're at this point now, I might as well say it. You know why even us here who are conscious, we are aware. We know of this law. We know of this law that your thought is gonna produce, your focus thought is gonna produce the things that you in your life that you purchase via that thought, whether it be good or evil. We know it now. We are aware of it and we know. But you know what is the problem? We do not, and I'm gonna borrow the word believe. It's not that word we use, but I'm going to bring forth my point, I'm gonna use the word believe here. Even though we know, we do not believe. Sounds strange. You know it, but you don't believe. We know because we've been taught. A 5 year now we are teach this. We have been teaching ourselves. We know. Everybody in here so know. The people who've been here for a long time with us, we know that the things them where you sit down and think about, whether they be idle or good, that it's gonna produce what you thought about. But we don't believe it. Let me explain. It is because we don't believe it why we still sit down and think a whole heap of foolishness, because we don't believe the foolishness will come forward in our life. That's why we keep doing it, because even though we know, you know by history, you know by knowledge, because you've been taught this thing for 5 years in this class, yeah. But for some reason you don't believe or you don't accept that it's gonna produce it. Mm-hmm. And that is why we still sit down and think up the whole heap of nonsense. Now watch it. It's for the same reason why when we do think the positive thing, it still don't come forward in our life. Because we're thinking the positive thing, but we don't believe so it'll come forward. Belief is what's killing us. Belief, or let's use the right word now, acceptance is what's killing us. We do not accept that this thing will go forward in our life. The thing, whether it be some vain thought, taking the Lord's name in vain, or whether it be some productive thought. We do it, but we truly don't believe say it all forward, even though we are seeing the evidence of it every day. We are some strange creatures in a man. Mankind strange, you know. We would rather believe some things that we have no evidence of. Like the Jesusism and God create man out of clay and all this nonsense. We easier to believe that than to believe the things that we do have evidence of. Our whole lives we've been seeing it happen. You use your thoughts to bring things into your life. But yet still we still sit down here so again, sit down here feasting on a bunch of vain thoughts, because somehow in the back of your mind you don't believe them vain thoughts, they'll come back and confront you and cut your throat. Mm-hmm. And for that same reason, even when we sit down and say, all right, let me meditate on some positive thoughts, it still don't come forward because you're meditating on the positive thought, but you don't believe say it will come forward. Yeah, do you understand the whole? You see the paradigm shift for me at that, Chris?
Come on. I see
we're injuring ourselves.
Excellent point.
So what I have found for myself, and I would implore that the item try this. When you find yourself thinking the nonsense, believe say it all come mash you up. Accept that it all come mash you up and you will stop doing it. And when you sit down and meditate on positive thought, believe that it's gonna come forward and you will do it some more. It's all about whether you accept it or not. Do you accept it or don't you? I know that we can do it, and we know that we are supposed to do it. But when you're doing it, do you accept that it's gonna be your fruit? Do you believe it's gonna be a fruit? It's gonna be a fruit. You better believe it. You better believe it.
Just as much as we plant a seed, and we've seen that tree grow before. We know that if we plant the seed, the mango seed, the tree will grow. We know we plant the apple seed, the tree will grow. We know that stuff. You know, we know the ground does not need to have feet. You understand? And the sea doesn't need to have feet. They're both already preset to do exactly that. Where we struggle, we're so dynamic, so diverse that we're just all over the place mentally, as we're talking about our inner speech, meaning that we will say something or think something positive that we desire, that we want. And then we have another thought that negates what we just talked about, you know, and our feeling. And, you know, so most of the time, Sir T, put it this way, we would think something that we desire, but then we have a feeling that counters the desire.
Yeah, because we don't have any faith. We don't feel as if this happened. We don't feel as if this happened.
Yeah.
That's why we don't persist in it, because we don't feel as if it happened. The faith.
We start use words like hope and
Yeah, like hope. Yeah, I hope it happened. No, if you feel as if it happened, you don't have to hope it happened.
we don't need hope. The ground does not need hope to grow anything. You understand?
No.
It just works. Okay, because we're designed to do that. And we're designed to do the exact same thing as the earth. But we just have emotions. That's our issue. Our emotion is what counters what we desire. You know, and so we have to learn how to be steadfast, persevere. Don't worry about the lack of facts or signs that something good or, you know, that our desire is going to happen or is happening. Don't focus on that. Focus on, as never say, the wish fulfilled. You know, stay in that. As we just said, the thoughts you create, they don't receive, they proceed. So if you stay in that mindset that, as Sir T just mentioned, feeling as if this happened, whatever mindset you have or whatever you're focusing on, catch the feeling that this already happened and stay there. That thought or those thinking will proceed into the future to confront you. And the sooner you have the feeling is the sooner it will confront you, and stuff like that. So great, you know, back and forth there, Sir T. Some, you know, really good points that you made there. And you know, on this inner speech that we're having here, this conversation. So just be mindful of your inner speech, guys. And be more mindful of what they can cause. All right. So let's proceed, and we're going to come right back to discuss some more.
How would I say my word to help a friend? I would imagine that I am hearing his voice, that he is physically present, that my hand is on him. I would then congratulate him on his good fortune, tell him that I have never seen him look better. I would listen as though I heard him. I would imagine that he is telling me he has never felt better, he has never been happy. And I would know that in this loving, knowing communion with another, a communion populous with loving thoughts and feelings, that my word was sent, and it shall not return unto me void, but it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. It is only what is done now that counts, even though its effects may not be visible until tomorrow. We call not aloud, but by an inner effort of intense attention. To listen attentively, as though you heard, is to create. The events and relationships of life are your word made visible. Most of us rob others of their willingness and their ability to be kind and generous by our fixed attitudes towards them. Our attitudes unfold within us in the form of mental conversations. Inner talking from premises of fulfilled desire is the way to consciously create circumstances. Our inner conversations are perpetually outpictured all around us in happiness. Therefore, What we desire to see and hear without, we must see and hear within. For the whole manifested world goes to show us what use we have made of the word. If you practice this art of controlled inner speaking, you too will know what a thrill it is to be able to say, and now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe. You will be able to consciously use your imagination to transform and channel the immense creative energies of your inner speech from the mental, emotional level to the physical level. And I do not know what limits, if any, there are to such a process. What is your aim? Does your inner talking match it? It must, you know. If you would realize your aim, or as the prophet asked, can two walk together except they be agreed? And of course the answer is no, they cannot. The two who must agree are your inner conversation and the state desired. That is, what you desire to see and hear without, you must see and hear within. Every stage of man's progress is made by the conscious exercise of his imagination, matching his inner speech to his fulfilled desire. As we control our inner talking, matching it to our fulfilled desires, we can lay aside all other processes. Then we simply act by clear imagination and intention. We imagine the wish fulfilled and carry on mental conversations from that premise. The right inner speech is the speech that would be yours were you to realize your ideal. In other words, it is the speech of fulfilled desire. Now you will understand how wise the ancient was when he told us in the Hermetica. There are two gifts which God has bestowed upon man alone and on no other mortal creature. These two are mind and speech, and the gift of mind and speech is equivalent to that of immortality. If a man uses these two gifts rightly, he will differ in nothing from the immortals. And when he quits his body, mind and speech will be his guides, and by them he will be brought into the troop of the gods and the souls that have attained to bliss. With the gift of mind and speech, you create the conditions and circumstances of life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, said Hermes, is Son, and mind is Father of the Word. They are not separate one from the other, for life is the union of Word and mind. You and your inner talking or word are one. If your mind is one with your inner conversation, then to be transformed in mind is to be transformed in conversation. It was a flash of the deepest insight that taught Paul to write, "Put off the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Put on the new man." Put on the new man and be renewed in the spirit of your mind is to change your inner conversation, for speech and mind are one. A change of speech is a change of mind. The prophet Samuel said, "The Lord spake by me, and his word was in my tongue." If the Lord's word was in the prophet's tongue, then the Lord's mouth that uttered the word must be the prophet's mind. For inner conversations originate in the mind and produce little tiny speech movements in the tongue. The prophet is telling us that the mouth of God is the mind of man, that our inner conversations are the word of God, creating life about us as we create it within ourselves. In the Bible you are told that the word is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil, blessings and curses. Choose life. The conditions and circumstances of life are not created by some power external to yourself. They are the conditions which result from the exercise of your freedom of choice, your freedom to choose the ideas to which you will respond. Now is the accepted time. This is the day of salvation. Whatsoever things are of good report, think on these things. For your future will be formed by the word of God, which is your present inner talking. You create your future by your inner conversation. The worlds were framed by the word of God, that is, your inner talking. See yonder fields? The sesamum was sesame, the corn was corn, the silence and the darkness knew. So is a man's fate born. For ends run true to origins. If you would reap success, you must plant success. The idea in your mind which starts the whole process going is the idea which you accept as true. This is a very important point to grasp, for truth depends upon the intensity of imagination, not upon facts. When the girl imagined that her employer was unfair, his behavior confirmed her imagination. When she changed her assumption of it, his behavior reflected the change, proving that an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The mind always behaves according to the assumption with which it starts. Therefore, to experience success, we must assume that we are successful. We must live wholly on the level of the imagination itself, and it must be consciously and deliberately undertaken. It does not matter if at the present moment external facts deny the truth of your assumption. If you persist in your assumption, it will become a fact. Signs follow, they do not precede. To assume a new concept of yourself is to that extent to change your inner talking or word of God, and is therefore putting on the new man. Our inner talking, though unheard by others, is more productive of future conditions than all the audible promises and threats of men. Your ideal is waiting to be incarnated, but unless you yourself offer it human parentage, it is incapable of birth. You must define the person you wish to be, and then assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, in faith that that assumption will find expression through you. The true test of religion is in its use, but men have made it a thing to defend. It is to you that the words are spoken. Blessed is she that believed, for there shall be an accomplishment of those things which are spoken unto her from the Lord. Test it, try it. Conceive yourself to be one that you want to be, and remain faithful to that conception. For life here is only a training ground for image making. Try it and see if life will not shape itself on the model of your imagination. Everything in the world bears witness of the use or misuse of man's inner talking. Negative inner talking, particularly evil and envious inner talking, are the breeding ground of the future battlefields and penitentiaries of the world. Through habit, man has developed a secret affection for these negative inner conversations. Through them he justifies failure, criticizes his neighbors, gloats over the distress of others, and in general pours out his venom on all. Such misuse of the word perpetuates the violence of the world. The transformation of self requires that we meditate on a given phrase, a phrase which implies that our ideal is realized, and inwardly affirm it over and over and over again until we are inwardly affected by its implication, until we are possessed by it. Hold fast to your noble inner convictions or conversations. Nothing can take them from you but yourself. Nothing can stop them from becoming objective facts. All things are generated out of your imagination by the word of God, which is your own inner conversation. And every imagination reaps its own words which it has inwardly spoken. The great secret of success is a controlled inner conversation from premises of fulfilled desire. The only price you pay for success is the giving up of your former conversation, which belongs to the old man, the unsuccessful man. The time is ripe for many of us to take conscious charge in creating heaven on earth, to consciously and voluntarily use our imagination to inwardly hear and say only that which is in harmony with our ideal is actively bringing heaven to earth. Every time we exercise our imagination lovingly on behalf of another, we are literally mediating God to that one. Always use your imagination masterfully, as a participant, not an onlooker. In using your imagination to transform energy from the mental, emotional level to the physical level, extend your senses. Look and imagine that you are seeing what you want to see, that you are hearing what you want to hear, and touching what you want to touch. Become intensely aware of doing so. Give your imaginary state all the tones and feeling of reality. Keep on doing so until you arouse within yourself the mood of accomplishment and the feeling of relief. This is the active, voluntary use of the imagination, as distinguished from the passive, involuntary acceptance of appearances. It is by this active, voluntary use of the imagination that the second man, the Lord from heaven, is awakened in man. Men call imagination a plaything, the dream faculty, but actually it is the very gateway of reality. Imagination is the way to the state desired. It is the truth of the state desired, and the life of that state desired. Could you realize this fully, then would you know that what you do in your imagination is the only important thing. Within the circle of our imagination, the whole drama of life is being enacted over and over again. Through the bold and active use of the imagination, we can stretch out our hand and touch a friend 10,000 miles away and bring health and wealth to the parched lips of his being. It is the way to everything in the world. How else could we function beyond our fleshly limitations? But imagination demands of us a fuller living of our dreams in the present. Through the portals of the present, the whole of time must pass. Imagine elsewhere as here, and then as now. Try it and see. You can always tell if you have succeeded in making the future dream a present fact by observing your inner talking. If you are inwardly saying what you would audibly say, were you physically present and physically moving about in that place, then you have succeeded. And you could prophesy from these inner conversations and from the moods which they awaken within you what your future will be. For one power alone makes a prophet, imagination, the divine vision. All that we meet is our word made visible, and what we do not now comprehend is related by affinity to the unrecognized forces of our own inner conversations and the moods which they arouse within us. If we do not like what is happening to us, it is a sure sign that we are in need of a change of mental diet. For man, we are told, lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And having discovered the mouth of God to be the mind of man, a mind which lives on words or inner talking, we should feed into our minds only loving, noble thoughts. For with words or inner talking, we build our world. Let love's lordly hand raise your hunger and thirst to all that is noble and of good report, and let your mind starve.
All right, guys, that is the end of the tape of that audio. Quick one. We have an hour or so left to, fill in the blanks and talk up the things about, what we just heard from Neville. All right. So the topic of today, big up, Sir Marlon. I see you just joined us in the interim. Thank you for joining, sir. And everyone who are here with us today, I really appreciate you making the effort to stop on in and continue to sharpen our imagination. This is our goal, our aim, our journey this year is to have a sharper imagination, this time around next year. We are becoming better marksmen, knowing how to aim and hit the target, and sin no more. For to sin is to miss the mark. All right? Not to eat an apple or listen to the devil and none of that foolishness. It is simply just to be unsuccessful in our aim. So this year, our intention is to intensify our imagination. Never mention it there, that when we're doing it, when we're having our inner conversations and whatever, it is the intensity that, really counts. The intensity of our inner conversation, pertaining to our desires. We have to intensify it. It has to have urgency, It has to feel as if we are actually experiencing it. And that is a trick. So when we catch the feeling of the experience, it becomes an intensity, because we can now actually feel it, vibrating. We don't need to, it's like when you're thinking about some place that you are longing to go, and now the time has come, but you're not there yet, but physically, but you're already there in mind. You're already thinking about all the things you're going to do, the food you're going to eat, places you're going to see, just having a great time. You're already thinking about that. You're making a list of all the things that you're going to do. And see, it's easy to do that when you are certain that you are going. So that's the trick. We're certain that we're going somewhere because we have the ticket, we have the money, we have the confirmation. And so now we're making plans within. So we're salivating, about all the things that we're going to do. This is where we want to get to without having any confirmation whatsoever. As scriptures say, faith is the substance hoped for, the evidence not seen. So if you see no evidence of what you're desiring, but you can have the mood, the feeling, the passion, the intensity, as if you are already confirmed and you are going to this place, or this thing is coming to you, or the new job, the raise, the new business, anything that you desire is being realized. If you can catch that mood, that's what we need to get good at, is catching the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The feeling is the absolute secret of attracting, or bringing into your existence that which you desire. So you have to get good at feeling the desire. You got to get good at feeling is knowing. Once you start to feel, it becomes like a knowingness. And then you just, what do you call it? You're going to the Sabbath. You feel as if what you have planted as taken root, is germinated. There's nothing else you need to do. It's just wait. So it's an impregnation of your mind, your subconscious mind. That's what we got to get good at. When your wife or girlfriend is pregnant, and you get the confirmation that she's pregnant, you don't have any doubt anymore that she's pregnant. And you go into a place of rest. You don't try to get pregnant anymore. That part of it is over with. All you do now is wait for the appointed time, and the appointed time is 9 months. Could come sooner, but we know it's not going to go past 9 months. So we have a certainty about us. We know the date, we know the month, the day, or the week of, and we have all these certainty that puts us at ease, But when it comes to our mind, this is where we struggle. So we want to get as good in mind as things are in nature, meaning naturally. We see everything happen naturally in nature, and we have no qualms about it, no questions about it, no hardship about it. We know it is what it is. It doesn't fail. The sun is going to rise every day and it's going to set every day. The moon is going to have its cycles. We're going to have the four seasons. We know these things. They never fail. It's nature, natural. We have to become natural as well in the act of having the right inner thoughts, having the right inner speech, which is going to create our right experience or the experiences that we generally desire to have. Surti, are you there?
Yeah, yes, sir, Chris. Give me a quick second. I soon jump in.
All right. Let's go to Sir Marlon if he's able to go live with us. Are you still, brother?
Yeah, man. Grand Rising, man. Blessed love to one and all. Sir
Let's
Chris,
go.
Sir T. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's a joy to be here as always. You can hear me clearly?
Yes, man. Clear on there.
Yeah, man. As usual, Neville said it well. Said it well. I mean, very clear, concise um description of what it is, you know, the wish fulfilled. It's a feeling. You know what I mean? I how, while you were just breaking down that last part, I was just thinking that, what about the person who has never, they desire something and they want to exercise the feeling, going into the feeling, because the feeling is the secret of the success of manifestation. Um, what if that person doesn't know, has never had the pleasure of that thing that they're desiring? Say they don't have a memory of how it feels to go into that. You know that I was speaking to somebody one time and they said, how do I assume the feeling? But that feeling doesn't necessarily have to. You see, it's about desire. You can always know what something would feel like even before you physically experience it. It is something that was in you. Now, maybe you can explain it a little clearer, Sir Chris, but even though you can use another experience of pleasure, pertaining to something else, to go into that feeling for that thing desired. But I say that you don't even have to do that. It's about you living the experience of actually, just like it says faith, feeling as if this happened. It's actually getting that feeling. You're actually living the experience. What you would say, what you would do, who you would describe it to, what you would do with, if it's a physical thing that you desire, what you would have done with it. Say it's money. You already feel the feeling of what thing you would have bought with it and how the thing bring you pleasure, how the thing bring you fulfillment, how the thing um fulfill certain debt obligations you had or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And that's the best way to really explain it to somebody that I found. But I mean, what do you say, Sir Chris? I mean, is it that and no more, or can you expound on it?
Um, the feeling that you mentioned there, Sir Marlon. Feeling is a secret. How do we, I would say, what's the word? How do we produce the feeling? And I think you asked us something about how would someone know how to have that feeling if they have never successfully experienced or achieved anything before that they had desired to experience. How do you feel? All you have to do, this is why scripture says, unless you become like that of a little child, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. So you have to have the joy of a child. You see how kids are very happy when they receive something and whatnot, and they're very persistent, very determined. It's because they know what it feels like already should they receive it. That's why they're so persistent. Kids know, young children. This is why they want it so badly, because they already know what it feels like. But they want to have that personal experience or relationship with this desire, whatever it is. So us as grown-ups have to go back to that inner child and remember what it felt like when we got our first bicycle or, first money, simple things like that. We have to try to produce that type of feelings when we're desiring something in a grown-up state. I think what it is, when you're a child, these things are coming from someone else. You don't really necessarily have to produce it. It's something that you're asking for from someone, like your parents or grandparents or whomever to produce. But I think us as grown-ups, we know that we're going to have to do something to get this thing going, this desire. We know if we're trying to if we want to buy a house and we don't have the money, I've been in that position, we know that we're going to have to do something. Nobody is going to give it to you like when you were a child, but you have to garner the feeling as does a child to produce whatever it is that is going to make you access or experience this desire. What we're telling you guys is don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just get the feeling. That's what we get the hang up on. We want to know how, where, and when, or what. Just know why you want what you want and what would it feel like if you actually experience it. You have an imagination. Nobody has to tell you what it would feel like if you experience it. I can tell you, imagine yourself in Disney World right now, and you're there. And what would you be doing? I may never have been to Disney World. But you can use your imagination. Your imagination is this child that knows all things, can be anywhere at a moment's notice. And it's actually, your imagination is the actual real world. That's where everything comes from. The imagination, heaven. You understand?
Hey,
So
Sir Chris.
in that particular feeling, and it will produce the way what's going to happen. Yes, Sir Mala.
But just a thing about something like that time.
Mm-hmm.
And me and um my wife and my wife's friend were having a conversation last night, And you were just saying something a while ago. You said if you should said you decided to go to Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All
Mm-hmm.
right. What would you do based on if you tell somebody? Would it be the same for the person who has seen an advertisement about Disney World and all the wonderful things that are there, the rides, the characters, meeting the Disney characters, the hotels, the foods, the rides again, and all the fun, seeing the commercials and everything. Would it be the same imagination for one person who has seen all that as per another person who has never seen anything about Disney World, heard about it, and desired to go, but has never seen anything to spark the imagination, to intensify the desire? Would there what would the difference be? What would the difficulty level be? for those two individuals?
That's a good question. It would certainly be easier for the person who has had some exposure to what Disney World look like, maybe by advertising or passing by and the person who have never seen it, they would not know necessarily how to imagine all the characters and stuff like that. So they would if they have any idea, it would be much easier to imagine that.
So the intensity of desire would not be the same.
I cannot honestly say it would not be the same because you don't know how curious a person would be who has never been there, more so than the person who have some idea. So it would depend on the person.
Right.
It would depend on the person's curiosity.
Understood.
Yeah.
But you know what I was saying when I was talking to my wife and a friend. You see what they're doing and just incorporating this AI thing. We were thinking about AI and the positive and negatives of AI being incorporated in our world, in our workplace, in every aspect of this society, slowly but surely. I can't even say slowly anymore. What is happening? How I understand AI to work is, reminder, AI is artificial intelligence. It is not a real person. And I asked her, my wife's friend, I asked her, I said, what is your idea of AI being introduced to your workplace? She works in a clinic, a hospital. And she says, well, AI thinks, and that's what she led with. She said, well, it's about AI thinks faster. And I stopped her right there. I said to her, I said, that's a mistake. AI does not think. You understand? AI does not think. AI is based on data, hundreds and thousands of data being put into an algorithm with different scenarios of outcomes based on patterns, based on history, based on, results, everything put in place. So what the AI does is in your industry, because it's set different from different industries, what it does, it brings the best possible outcome or best possible answer to a requirement based on analysis. And most times it is close to correct, if not correct, because of patterns. Now, reason I bring all this up, you hear I said AI bring forth a result, an answer for a requirement based on analysis patterns is the same way. And that's why I asked the question, how you think it would be for a person who has seen all the advertisements, maybe, everything that would spark their or pique their interest in Disney World versus a person who has never seen it and stuff. It is all of those that I would say it is all of those put together. The analysis, the based on the data coming from all the ads, everything to spark the interest, to get a person interested and stuff. You know what I mean? But this is a person's mind thinking all this. So to me, it intensifies the whole faith. And so that person has already lived that weekend at Disney or whatever time it is. They have already ridden the rides. They have already stayed at the hotel and the delicious food. So it must happen. You know what I'm saying, Chris? So it's just a comparison based on, what happens in the AI world versus what happens in our mind, and how it brings things forward. If that makes sense. Back to you.
That makes sense, man. Like how you formulated that. And the AI, right? That's a lot of information that AI has that makes it easier to produce. Okay, certain some have to start getting ready for work. It makes it easy for we call it now AI to produce the information that you're asking for. So AI in this sense would be like your imagination or your memory of things that you have seen, processed. And so if you were to ask yourself or desire something from memory, something that you've seen, it's going to be easier to formulate what you have seen, you know, and then therefore make the wish or the desire or the goal that you're trying to achieve happen sooner than later. So let's give you an example as to why that works more so than someone who probably doesn't have any type of memory or at least any type of idea of a particular thing that they're wishing for or desiring. And I mentioned this before. This is called dream building. So dream building is where you put things on your refrigerator or on a dream board. They call it, you know, you put it on a wall or a piece of board or your mirror, refrigerator, your phone. In this case, you know, something that's with you all the time. I kind of did that with the barbershop. I did that with, I mentioned my wife's car. I made a video of it. So, but I did not only do that, I sat in it, the vision board, yes. You make a vision board. I sat in the vehicle, I held the steering wheel, I sat, you know, moved the seat where I would like it to be. I touched the console, the radio, the knobs, all these things. We're just getting personalized with it. I was listening, the quietness, you know, what it sounds like in the vehicle. And this is why they give you road tests. So these salespeople know these things too, but they don't really know it to that depth. But this is why they give people the road test with the vehicle, because you now become more intimate with the car or what have you. So that is creating in your imagination now a vivid memory, to where once you have the experience, you can always go back now and remember what you have experienced. And so you kind of live in that moment, you know, repetitively over and over. So in my example or my experience, whenever I do it like that, I've seen a lot of results when I actually go out and interact with the particular thing that I'm trying to, that I'm desiring, that I'm giving my attention to. I go out and, you know, interact with it, make sure my five senses are experiencing this thing, whether I'm seeing it, hearing it, smelling it, tasting it, touching it, whatever it is, whatever I can exercise in terms of my senses, I go out there and I do it. And it creates a better, intimate relationship with this thing that you're desiring, you know. And so in particular with the shop, you know, what I used to do, I used to take a picture of my car in front of, not this building, but in front of this particular building I used to go to. I was the only one I did it with, okay? And I took my picture of the car and I put it on my phone. So I was at the phone. Every time I open up the phone, I would see the car right in front of the building. So it was always a reminder, you know, to keep that, living that end, as Neville would say. So what that does, Sir Marlon and everyone, is helps you to live in the end, as Neville mentioned. We didn't know it. I didn't know it as that technical about living in the end. But dream building, you know, which I was taught almost 30 years ago, is just living in the end by doing the thing now. You don't own it, you don't own the thing, you're just interacting with it. You're just making it feel as if you already have it. The mind does not know that this thing is not in your driveway or it's not yours or whatever. You're just having a great experience with it. But you create the mood, you create the feeling. And in some time, you know, the how is going to present itself or it is going to happen. But at the time, you don't know how. You may not have the credit, you may not have the money, you may not have a job, for crying out loud. You know, there's going to be some things that you haven't fulfilled yet. And these are the things that make it hard for people to accept that these things can happen, because we are creatures that look for evidence. We're always looking for an evidence of how things are going to happen. Like, I'm not going to move until I know. I'm not going to do something until I am certain. Because I don't want to, I've heard people say, I don't want to try and it doesn't work out and I get disappointed. And people don't try until they know for certain if they make this move or make that move, it's going to fall into place. And so people are not, willingly going to create a vision board and all this type of stuff because they don't accept that they can buy that $1 million home or that $100,000 car, whatever it is you have on your vision board. They do not accept that it is possible because we have what I call it, subconscious memories. All things we produce after those kind of the feeling of fulfillment, we produce fulfillment. That's right. So Sir T just wrote in the chat that all things reproduce after its own kind. Having the feeling of fulfillment will produce fulfillment, much like having the feeling of despair will produce despair. Absolutely, because like begets like. Whatever you put in front of the mirror is going to reflect back to you, and our mind is primarily the conscious mind is always giving off some idea to the subconscious to reflect. The subconscious is the mirror and the conscious mind is what's in front of the mirror, and it is always going to give back to you what you put in front of it. It cannot produce other than what you put in front of it. It's never been done, it cannot be done. Whatever is in front of the mirror is what you're going to see. And it's the same thing with your subconscious mind, which reproduces what the conscious mind produces. You understand? So thank you for that, Sir T. So, but these are the things that I did, and they've always worked, It's just getting out there and doing it, might be an issue for some people because they lack having that, that acceptance that if they look at something, if they touch something, if they interact with it, it is going to happen. They want to know how it's going to happen before they do something. Right here on the One Grid I Am, we're not teaching about waiting to see how. The only thing you need to do is know why you want something or desire something. Know, how does it feel? How will it feel if you have it? And like we're saying now, interacting with the thing that you desire, whether it be there personally or whether you're on a website, maybe going through watching videos of houses or cars or what have you. You don't have to really be there physically, but in my opinion, it does help more to be there physically a bit more because you're personalizing it, you're interacting with it more so than if you are away from it and stuff like that. Clearly, If I want to be in Dubai, I cannot go to Dubai and interact with Dubai. So these things you have to do from within your imagination primarily, but you can also do the vision board. You can take clips or create some kind of scenery of Dubai where you would like to go while you're in Dubai, and make that something on your vision board that you see all the time. You probably cannot interact with it if you were there in the physical, but you can at least have it as a reminder every time you see it. It reminds you to keep living in that end, more so than being wishy-washy with it. And the more you live in that end, the more you see it, it becomes repetitive. It's just like when you watch your TV programs on TV and you watch the news primarily. Everything you see on the news, you accept, even though you're not there, but you accept that it's actually going on, whatever they're reporting, and you catch the feeling of whatever they're telling you. So we have to learn how to garner that type of emotion, or those type of emotions that is going to be necessary to create the desire that you're looking forward to experience, So what your inner conversations, as we're discussing here, can be a hindrance, as well as it can be your best ally, It depends on what the conversations are within your mind, Do not desire something and then cancel it with, the facts, as Never would say. Do not use facts. What are facts? Facts are just what's true or what's truly going on right now. You desire something, but you're not in the position to buy it or to experience it. And it is true. It is a fact. But do not entertain the facts at all. Because what you think are facts are absolutely they're lies, because if they were facts, then you would not have any way to change it. No one could go from being poor to rich. You understand? It wouldn't happen because it is factual the person is poor. So how did they become rich? Because it wasn't a fact. It is just a perception. It is just there. It's just where you are in your consciousness in your life, why you are where you are. As soon as you move from that poverty mindset to a wealthy mindset, rich mindset, and then live in that mindset, then the world has to conform to that change of mind, And so the only reason why people are not moving from being poor or broke or whatever to what they want to be is we have subconscious memories, subconscious applications, just like on your phone, that is there that we have to negate, that we have to get rid of in order to move on. Even when your beliefs are till, you have that subconscious hiccup that has been there from God knows how long, from your childhood, or maybe from you become an adult, or some kind of a hurt of some kind, some kind of impediment. It's there, slowing you down, holding you back, and you know it. That these things are there in the background, and you're trying to overcome it. And the only way to do it, you have to become persistent. You have to persevere. You have to move ahead with what you're doing, regardless of the so-called facts that stands in your way. People do it all the time, every day, whether they believe in consciousness or not. You got people out there who are persistent in their desires, and there's nothing that's going to stop them. They may have just gotten out of may have just filed bankruptcy. They may have just lost their jobs, whatever it may be, and it doesn't hold them back. They have that drive, that perseverance to proceed and go forward for their desires. You know, we have to garner that same type of intensity when we're chasing after something. And you know, like I said, I think acting with the thing, you know, interacting with it. If you cannot do that, find another way to interact with it, but make it your practice, you know, to live in the end of that thing that you wish to fulfill. And don't worry about how it's going to happen, when, those two things, how and when, don't worry about it. Just live in that end. The universe, as they like to say, will conform and start to make movements. And it's going to happen so organically. And you probably won't even realize until after it happened that it was because of what you were doing. Parachute thought that, you know, God is going to come and bless you when he sees it fit, or when you're in the right place, or when you get this done or get that done. None of that has to be true. You have to make the first move. Everything is incumbent upon you, the individual, you know, to control your inner speech. Your inner speech can be seen as prayers, you know, that you're having. And you're either making one step forward, two steps backwards, you know, based on your inner speech. So we have to control that. We have to be mindful, I like to say, of what we're thinking. And if we're going off into the deep end, catch ourselves and bring ourselves back. Because it does happen. You find yourself falling off into thoughts and becoming idle in the thoughts. You have to kind of like write a program, so to speak, that activates whenever you fall off into that deep end, to catch yourself and say, no, cancel that, whatever I was thinking. You know, just like when you're typing on your phone and you type the wrong word, you delete it. You know, you can do the same thing with your mind. Okay, you can cancel thoughts that you've thought about. Neville called it revision. You can go back into your past or your past thoughts, so to speak, and imagine a different outcome than you have imagined previously. So if you catch yourself having a negative exercise for whatever reason, revise it. You know, revise the thought. It's like doing it over again, better this time, and root up the one that you thought about before, cancel it, and let this one become the new one that you're going to let proceed into the future. Sir Martin, did you have something else you wanted to add or ask? Not here. Sir Martin?
No, sir, Chris. No,
Yeah, but
all has been said as far as I
that
realize.
makes sense. What I talk about with the dream building, the vision board, in
Oh yeah,
terms
man, absolutely.
of AI analogy to use over there.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
So you feel as if a person who has had some kind of exposure to a thing that they haven't necessarily experienced it yet, but they would love to, but they have seen examples of it. So it can help them to imagine better than someone who doesn't have the same kind of exposure. That's what you're saying.
Yes, yes, I would agree with that. However, it doesn't take away from the person who has never had the experience or had anything to enhance their interest. You understand? But naturally, go into their imagination deeper to have that same effect. Because what they're doing, they're creating an entire experience, not based on any former um experience. If I can use by the same word. You know what I mean? So of course, you know, it's about just creating that whole scenario from the ground up and living it and assume the feeling of all that it would entail. That's the faith. You know what I mean?
It's about becoming.
And then we go off things that we see too, that we see other people's success and we imagine what it would feel like. You know what I mean? We see other people's reaction,
Mhm.
you know, and we can feed off that too. But what we do, we place ourselves in that moment, in that light. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
we see
So that's
examples.
it.
Yeah, we see examples, and it's easier to follow the example, at least at least in mind. And that's what we are creatures of habits. Are We copy each other, and that's one reason why you see multiple people with the same vehicle, the same house, the same many things, because they've looked at someone as an example and imitate that person, or to the best of their ability, and you find yourself you know driving or experiencing the same thing as look at let's use Kobe for an example. Kobe would watch Michael Jordan ad nauseum, and as a result, he too ended up playing in the NBA. That was not an accident or coincidence. Um, and not only that, he practically played exactly like Michael Jordan. There are some, differences, but for the most part, Kobe was like the second coming of Michael Jordan, while Michael Jordan was even playing still in the NBA. So he was, the shadow of Michael Jordan. Whatever Michael Jordan did, Kobe did. And if you look at their career, pretty similar in nature. You know, Kobe has 5 titles, Jordan has 6. Kobe played in 7 NBA finals. Jordan played in 6. So he has technically equaled Michael Jordan to a point, because he had imitated him so much. And as a result, his career was just as memorable. Um, most people would have Kobe as top 3 greatest player of all time. Jordan, most people would say is number 1. So it's no accident that he's that close to the guy that he imitated. And so that's what we're saying to you, the same thing here. If we can imitate something that's on the outside of us in mind, if we can be it, become it in mind, be ye imitators of God. If we can imitate or become in mind like that which we can, hear, see, taste, smell, and touch. If we can do it in mind, we will experience it, in time. We just have to become good at persistent or persisting in the chase. You know, like a prey, like a predator going after his prey, and it cannot eat if it relents. I mean, you know, it has to continue to chase after this prey. You know, can't stop. You have to persevere, and it's the same thing that we're doing when we're going after our desires. It's we're being the predator. We're being the generator. We're generating this thing, but we have to persist in the generating. We cannot stop because we don't see any evidence of it yet. Or lose, as they would say, faith. Okay? You have to be like the mustard seed. It can only become a mustard seed. That's why it's faithful. It doesn't know anything else. So whatever we're desiring, we have to become that. And only that cannot become the other aspect that can negate it. We cannot focus on what the facts are or what someone has said or is saying, or someone that you saw who tried the same thing and failed. We cannot focus on that. Just be the thing that you desired to have. Be like a mustard seed. You know, it can only be what you desire to be. But once you start to entertain other stuff, then you're slowing down the process. You're negating it. And then, of course, if it persists or take so-called too long, you're going to just give up on that chase because you don't see how it's going to happen. So whenever you see, what I want you guys to do is to, as they say, holy faith. Whenever you see things are not going in your direction, just know it is you who's causing it. It's nothing else. Once you accept responsibility, it's easy to fix. Okay? It's always you. No matter what anybody says, it's always you. It's never what I'm saying. Like no, the economy. It's Biden. It's Trump. It's George Bush or Obama, or it's the government. Yeah, those things are there. You know, they're playing their part. But there are others out there who it's not affecting. So it cannot be the government. If it was, it would affect everybody. It has to be you. It has to be where we are in our consciousness. You know, things cannot go your way if your inner speech is not matching up with the desire that you have for yourself to experience. Your inner speech and the thing you desire, they have to agree. If they don't agree, meaning that they don't become one, if they're not on the same vibration, the same wavelength, the same level, one cannot be above and the other below. They have to be on the same level and coming together like this to become one. You know, if that's not happening, then your desire is not going to generate. You know, it's not going to become present or a so-called fact, an experience. All right. So you have to agree with the thing you're desiring. Do not say why good things never happen for me, you know, and every time I try something, it always fails. I do not use those old programs that we were given as kids coming up because they're still there. You know, don't use those. Be very mindful when they come to just let them go by. Do not use them as idle thoughts. They're going to come, but let it go. Let it pass through your mind. And when the one that you want to entertain comes, you grab onto that. You understand? You give that your intention or attention. Give it your energy. Energy flows where attention goes. So do not focus on anything that is going to hinder what you're trying to drive, what you're trying to get having as it in your world or your experience. Just focus only on the goal at hand. Anyone has anything to add or question? Observation? Anybody? Oh, somebody got a question. Or testimony. Because we remember I told you guys a couple weeks ago to make a list of things that you desire to experience or desire to have this year. So I want you guys to work on that list and come back and let me know, did anything manifest or did anything happen that's on your list, and so on and so forth. All right, go ahead, Lawrence.
I think I came into the last part of talking about AI.
Mm.
Can you kind of like slimly like run that by me again, please?
That was
I don't know if I'm thinking it right, what I thought you guys said, or if it's just, I don't know.
Sir Marlon, if you're still there, can you tell her what you were saying about the AI? That was a conversation you were having with your wife, and the question came up about AI and stuff like that.
So are we talking about the AI with, with the technology that everything's going on, or different?
Yeah, he was saying that I think the question was AI was better, or like they were trying to say that AI is better than human. That's what I think. And there goes Sir Marlon. Sir Marlon, what were you saying about that with the AI comparison to us as humans? What's the difference?
Yeah, hear me?
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me see if I can connect back to the Wi-Fi.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. If you hear me. No man, we were pretty much talking about the process, how similar the process is.
Yeah.
With how AI does things and how we do things. It's just that the AI is unfeeling. The AI does not know how to express the desire. And I think that we having the desire, because remember, AI is said to do things a millisecond, like 10,000 milliseconds fast. I'm just exaggerating a number, but that's why they're using it in the first place, because it's so-called make decisions faster than a man would. You understand?
Yeah.
And stuff. But remember, AI works off of analysis. AI works off of the algorithm is set to work of the best possible outcome and stuff like that. So it was just a comparison of the AI does not have desire. It can only operate based on data.
Yeah.
That was input in something. But we work off raw desire. To me it is more intense, as per the results of it. So that's pretty much what we were talking about where AI is concerned. If that make any sense.
Yeah, man. So did that answer your question, Lawrence?
So I should have something to add, man.
Yeah, sound like
Because I remember I was listening to Jeffrey, the guy who's the godfather of AI, and he was saying, and they asked him a question. They said, do you think AI could be replaced by humans? He says there's a possibility. So I said, how can it be replaced by humans? Because nothing can be replaced by humans, because like the word say symbolically, he made us a little higher than the angels.
Are
So
you,
how
are you,
can
are you AI replace
Say that
human
again. Are you saying it correctly? Yeah,
beings?
you probably.
Replace human
You
beings.
mean humans replaced by AI?
yes, humans replaced by AI? Yes, he was saying there's a possibility that that can happen.
Who said that now?
Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI.
Of course, he's going to say that because he's the godfather of that technology. Um, but when because you see, this question has different layers and even the answer. So, did he explain what did he mean by AI could replace human beings? In what
Because AI is taking over so fast over everything. So the guy that was interviewing him say, do you think there's a possibility that AI can replace, humans, like can overall think humans? And he was like, there's a possibility, because he created it, he's the godfather of it, so he's gonna always say yes, you know what I'm saying? But there's I find it very hard to believe that it would take over. Because like the guy said, we believe raw. AI is just,
it's an extension of who we already are.
right.
That's all the AI really is called intelligence. We are intelligence.
Right.
It is artificial, meaning it is not,
Right.
what do I call it now? Organic,
But
It
yeah, but you have to remember something. You have to remember something real quick. In an industry, because as I said, AI will be created in different um industries to perform whatever tasks. Remember now, AI is only there for efficiency and it is outsourcing human beings in the workplace
Yes.
and in other areas like that, which is not necessarily good at this from our vantage point, because how are you gonna sustain what are we gonna do? Give human beings stipends to not go to work? But let AI hold on, but let AI do the job. AI doesn't tire, AI doesn't need a lunch break, AI doesn't need a weekend off. AI can run consistently. So any industry, any mogul corporation investing in AI to perform tasks that formerly human beings used to do is gonna eventually save a lot more money, because all they have to worry about is maintenance
Yeah.
for these things. However, and this already started because it's in the car industry. You
Yeah.
understand who you think is putting these cars together? The assembly is only a few things human beings do, And I'm in this industry. I transport cars, so I've gotten an inside look at how these plants work. You understand? So that is AI in itself. But in other areas where they're trying to get autonomous with a lot of transportation stuff, it's still a work in progress. But replacing human beings, it can never replace human beings. There's gonna always be somebody at the helm. However, the masses, there's gonna always be somebody at the helm to reprogram, to program, to tell, to for whatever its desire is. You understand? Like for example, Elon Musk. Elon Musk said by 2040, we're gonna have more humanoids than walking around. That goes back to the whole AI thing. I personally feel like it has its purpose, but it's not good to incorporate it too much in society, because um it's gonna create a void for human interaction. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? But back to topic, AI will never be able to think. It's
Body.
always gonna rely on data and do analysis based on that.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
But we have desire. Remember, we are feeling, we are call us the higher machines then. We human beings. Everything that the AI does is based on our invention and whatever we put in it. But we have true desire, true motive. We have true, intentions.
Right.
AI does not have intention. AI just knows how to do what it's programmed to do.
Right.
Yes, it might have intention, but the intention is based on somebody inputting a certain desire into it, and it performs that function. You know.
Mhm.
So no, my personal answer to that question is no. I agree. They will never be able to replace us
Never.
as humans.
I highly doubted that. So that's why I brought that up, since we was talking about that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an assistant. It gets things done 24/7, faster and whatnot. Guys, you have to realize that it would almost be like saying cars are going to replace human beings. We're the ones that invented cars, human beings, and continue to improve upon them. They're autonomous and all stuff and stuff. So in the future, human beings will not be driving cars anymore. The car is going to be driving us.
Mhm.
It's a reverse, but it's not going to replace us. You understand? It's just aid in getting things done faster, more efficiently. Speed is required these days because of competition, to get things done and whatnot. So nothing about replacing. Yes, in other aspects, human beings will not be working in warehouses as we are now. It's already started. There's a lot of robotics that are taking over inside the warehouse and things of that nature, but we're not going to be replaced in terms of the species. I think that was probably more where the question was probably going directing is AI going to be put into robots, and robots are going to now become the new humans, and and we're no longer going to be here and whatnot. So we're going to have those things, robots. We're going to have robots that are put in place to do certain things that human beings are limited to doing. Maybe like going into an environment that is dangerous. You can send a robot into those areas, and you don't worry about the repercussions because it's a robot. It doesn't have a life. It's just metal with some computer inside. It's not alive as we are. It doesn't have consciousness, and whatever is within it is what we consciousness have put into it. So everything is an extension of consciousness. You understand?
Mhm.
The vessels are objects that comes from within consciousness itself as an idea or a way to experience itself. Everything you see is consciousness externalized, and you're experiencing it anyways. Consciousness is experiencing this body, and everything outside of the body also came from consciousness just for the purpose of experience, because that is the only way to do it, is to externalize it, make it objective, make it five sensory. But it always exists. Everything you see has always existed because consciousness is the only thing in existence. It's just flipped inside out, basically. We understand that. The general population does not. Doesn't realize that everything is consciousness. As the Hermetic law says, all is mental. Everything you see is mental, even though it's physical, it's a mental creation. It's something that is being projected from a mental perspective. None of it is actually physical as we've been taught. It's just an illusion, but it is consciousness is so dynamic, it can make things vibrate to where it is something that you can feel, touch, and hold.
Yeah, physical.
You know, it's just a vibration of consciousness changes to make something physical. But it is still made from a mental aspect. You know. But yeah, good question. A good thing to ponder. But I like how Sir Martin is very in tune with that aspect of the AI world and whatnot. And you know, we have made things to enhance our lives, like a car to take us to places we cannot go to, you know, if we were to walk or run. So we had to make something to take us there. But it doesn't make anything that we have made better than us. The Father and I are one, but the Father is greater than I. You are the father of these things that you've made, but they're the sons. But you're one with them, or they're not greater than you are, because they were by you, from you, and of you, of your mentality, you know, whatever you were thinking. So, but they are just made to enhance our lives as human beings, you know. But it doesn't make them better. It's all a perception. But you know, when all these things, AI, robots, these are all humans who designed them. Somebody designed it and decided to invent a component of some kind to produce what they have desired, and they felt like it would be good for humanity. You know, it's something that everyone could use. So it can't be something that only you are going to, you know, is going to use. It has to be something that everyone can interact with. Television, radio, cell phones, you know, cars, you name it. Whatever it is that was invented, it's generally going to be something that everyone can experience and have fun with in one capacity or another. You know, so it's just consciousness desiring. That's all it is. You know, all we are just the many eyes, the many different angles of the one consciousness. You know, if you look at TV, if you're watching a program, it's one, what do you call it now? It's a movie, but there's different angles of the movie, you know? And all we really are just different angles of consciousness, you know? We're everywhere, but we are one. It seemed like we're having an individual experience, you know? Like I'm conscious of where I am, and I know it. But I know all you guys are also conscious of where you are, and you know it. It's all one consciousness, having many different angles, many different cameras, viewing the same thing, you know, the same movie. From my house, from your house, we're all watching the same movie on the same station, but from a different location. That's all. That's all we are. We're just located in different places, but we're all seeing the same thing, experiencing the same thing. But we get to individualize it. We get to personalize it. How dynamic is that? We're all one, but we get to be have separate individual experiences. You know, that is entangled in the web of consciousness to make us feel as if we're separated. It's supposed to be a feeling, but not fact. You know, it's supposed to be an illusion. That's how we think we're separated, but in actuality, we are not. We're all the one consciousness being the many. And that is good, bad, or indifferent. It's like a body of water, right? It's all one body of water, but you might want to take some in a cup. Somebody might want to take some in a bath pan. Some might just want to use it to swim in. You're using it for different purposes, but it's all the same source being used differently. But can anybody argue it's different? No. It's the same body of water everywhere, just being used in many different ways. And that's exactly who we are, you know? And it is so dynamic that your inner speech, your inner conversations affect you. Though we're one and we're all connected, well, if you have a particular inner speech, you receive the benefits or the repercussions, you know, the negative repercussions. So you're going to reap something, whether it be negative or positive, but based on your inner conversations with your own self, you know. So it's really interesting how consciousness works, where you can remain one with the source, but your desire, your direct desires affect you, you know. And you might say, well, it took someone else to come and cause whatever the case may be. So you were thinking something good, great. I need to buy this car. It caused someone else to come and, like, let's use my example. I like to use examples. What was it? 2019, was it? No, 17. We had a hurricane. My roof got messed up. Filed a couple claims, they gave me some money and I denied it. I said, no, that's not going to work. That's not what I desire to have. I desire to have a new roof. You want to do a partial fix. That's not going to work. So 2 years passed. I have 1 more year to file my claim, but they give it 3 years. So I'm in the barbershop working. One day, this guy walks in, comes for a haircut. And we got to talking, only to find out he was a contractor. And I told him about my situation. And he said, no worries, man, I got you. Don't know this guy from Adam, you know. He just walked in the shop one day and gave him my information. And that's all I gave him. I didn't have to talk to this man every day, nothing like that. He never called me for nothing. Whatever I gave him, he took that to his people. He said, do not call the insurance company. We're going to deal with everything. He talked to the insurance. They worked out what they worked out. Next thing I know, the work started. They came and put on a brand new roof. And I even made some money from the deal. And I never asked this guy, make sure I got some money. I said, I just want my roof fixed. I don't care anything about that. I don't need $1. Just fix my roof. Okay? Whatever you make from the deal, that's your business. And I still made some good money from the deal and a brand new roof. Okay? So did I cause that? Yes. But it took this guy to come and do it. But this guy and I are one. We're both the same consciousness. You know, we're both the same consciousness, but his body, his expertise, what his consciousness already was privy to, the people that he knew, had to make the connection. But I was the trigger. I triggered all of that. He had to come and play his part. And he's oblivious to it. But he's in business. He's looking for a customer as well. So he thinks I'm a customer. He's going to make some money and whatnot. But he doesn't know that that was my desire. That's why he ended up in my barbershop. After this guy did all of this stuff, I fixed the shop. And he was coming here for weeks. And after the house got fixed, the roof got fixed, I don't know where this guy's at now. You know, no idea where he's at. He came and played his part, and him gone. And I was dealing with him for maybe 6 months or so, you know, cutting his hair and all that stuff and whatnot, you know. And he was always busy up and down the highway from here to Miami, out of state, doing all type of stuff. I've not seen that guy probably since 2020. This was I got my roof fixed 2019, 2 years after the hurricane. In the summer of 2019, I got the roof fixed, probably about May, June, thereabouts. I haven't seen him since 2020. You know, came and played this part. My roof has been fixed. Been through 2 more storms since, no problem. You know, so you're always going to be attracting people into your world, doing stuff that you desire to get done. But if you're not aware of who you are, you're going to think it's just luck or right place at the right time or is God. All of the above is right, but it's not in the way that you think. You're in the right place at the right time. And yes, it is God, but you are God, your consciousness. And that's who you are. You're not the flesh, you're not the body. You are awareness. You are the one doing everything, whether it be good or bad. You know, once you understand that, you're set free. You cannot blame anybody or thank anybody. All praises go to your consciousness, you know, or blame, if you want to put it that way, because it's causing everything. There's only one cause, not God, not the devil. Consciousness is the cause of everything. It is the operant power. And you are the one who's giving it parentage. You know, you're giving it parentage, and it has to come to birth. It has to be born somewhere, somehow, into your existence. You know, so just want you guys to understand that. Control your inner thinking, your inner speech, your mood, what you entertain or entertain. That's what the word entertain means. To let stuff enter there into your mind. Entertainment. You know, watch what you let enter into your mind, and you know, voila all over it, or just, you know, let it consume it. Do not inundate yourself. Be aware, but not inundated. You know what's going on, but don't be watching CNN all day, every day, and stressing out yourself. Okay. There's a saying, ignorance is bliss. And I know that is twofold, you know, but it just simply means when you're not concerned about when you're not out inundating yourself with all the negative out there, all of what's going on in the world, you're going to be in bliss because you don't know. And the minute you know, you lose your bliss. So it's best to not bombard yourself with these things. Just be aware that things happen. Things is going on out there. We have a new president now, you know, and all this type of stuff. We know what comes with that. But don't inundate yourself with what's going on, because it's going to become your world. So lose that awareness on that, and only be aware of the world that you desire to experience, and focus on that. Remember, that's our goal this year, is to become spiritual marksmen, learn how to see something, aim for it, and hit the mark. Okay? We have many targets, and we want to hit them one by one, you know? And it takes practice. It takes meetups like this to continue to, you know, affirm, you know, our goal, and stay steadfast and never lose that, that aim, that desire. Okay, so that being said, guys, we're gonna cut the feed here and get ready for the rest of our day, whatever you guys have planned. But it was a pleasure having you here, and looking forward to see you guys next week Sunday again, when we come here and fellowship and get closer to our goal, intensify our consciousness, our imagination, and our knowingness, intensify that, so that we can be better and be an example to everyone who's out there, who's watching, and so on and so forth. Okay, so love you guys. Bless of yourselves. Peace and love. And we'll see you next week. Over and out.